With Steady B, with Cool C, and EST, what was each one of their reactions?
So with that, you're in a group. So if you're with the group, then you're with the group. So you just roll with what the general consensus is. You know what I mean? You're not gonna go out on your own and be like, wait a minute, I'm gonna be a defiant one. You ain't gonna do that. You're just gonna roll with what's going on. Especially with it being like, damn, we just lost Tab Money. Like, all right, how are we gonna replace him? So again, being young, 18 or so years old, and you under this guy's tutelage, you're just gonna follow now at this point. So they were kind of like, I mean, I didn't look back. I talked to my dancer, one of my dancers, and he was effed up about it. He was like, "What? How are we gonna lose Tat? Like, huh? What? Like, we crew, we like this." But this business will mess you up, man. So they eventually, you know, I guess they got a special FU on the liner notes or something like that on one of the records. Was that the fifth album?
Well,
it was a special FU to me on there. So I'm like, that's all love. I mean, I know it wasn't. I know it wasn't from the heart. I know that. I know that was manifested by some other force.
Well, I always did wonder why there were the 4 albums in 4 years, and then it took 2 years for 5 to come out. So now I have a better understanding. So there you go. But with
there you go.
But with Kwame, how did you get with him, and what made you guys, you know, work so well together for several years?
Long story short, basically, Steady and I were out. We did a show in Richmond, Virginia, and it was snowed out. Man, it was so much snow down there. With Kid and Play, we did a show. It was a show I believe was actually a Cool C show. I don't think it was a Steady B show. We all went, but I think it was a Cool C and Kid and Play show. And Kwame was there, where Herbie was there as well. So like his camp would roll with with them as well. And they rolled deep. And Herbie used to be down with Pop Art, of course, you know, with the Showstopper. So he had dealings with Lawrence or whatever. And I always wanted to talk to him because I always wanted to know, like what were your dealings? Like, how did it go? And like same, you're asking me the questions. I was trying to interview him, and I ended up doing it that night. You know, we was at the hotel bugging out, having fun. You know, everybody's running around, having a good old time after the show because the show was like snowed out. So it really wasn't a lot of people there. It was like in some kind of school or hall or whatever it was. And it was like the roads were like blocked and people really couldn't get out. But it was a fun night. But we got a chance to build with, you know, the Herbie team, you know what I mean? Herbie Lovebug and his crew. And Kwame was there. He showed up and he had came over to like our room. We was all running out the room and invading the daggone vending machine. We was doing all kind of crazy stuff, having a good old time. And he came over with Herbie and we were chit-chatting. And he was real cool and calm. And he was just all like, you know, he's all chilling. I'm just like, look at this dude, man. He's a cool ass cat. He's just like cool. I you know, he even rapped or anything like that. So we like hit it off. You know what I mean? It was a good look. I didn't know that he knew us. You know what I mean? Later on, he told me this. He was like, "Oh, I liked y'all guys Steady and Tap Money. Y'all, damn, that's dope." So I was like, "Damn, he was a fan of the music. That's fly." I'm like, all right, that's kind of dope. So we get home. Maybe like a week later, like a week and a half, BET debuted his record. You know, I'm just one of these kids is doing his own thing. I'm sitting there looking like, and I could tell. I mean, I see Dana, I see, you know, Kid. You know, I see the different figures. Spinderella. I'm just like, oh snap, this is a Herbie production. I'm like, I could tell from the gate the way it was moving. I'm like, this is Herbie all day long. And I'm like, yo, this the dude, the Kwame dude that we met in Virginia. I'm like, oh snap, get out of here. That's fire. He never mentioned one word about rapping. He never said that he was coming out, nothing. I mean, I guess he didn't want to be, you know, cliche. Yeah, you know, I'm coming out. I got Ricky. Because everybody says that. Everybody's like, I'm coming out. Wait till you get a load of me. You know, that kind of thing. He didn't say one word. He was just sitting there chilling the whole time. And that made it even better. Because when he came, it was just something different. I was just like, oh, he took the cartoon. And I was like, oh, that's dope. It's my baby. He took that whole thing. I was like, oh, that was fly. I was like, all right, he got some good ideas. This guy's kind of dope. And I know he was having some issues. I guess, you know, he started like touring and whatnot with that first album. And, you know, the Boy Genius album. And he started, I guess, having issues like with his DJ. And Rob, EST, was really cool with him. They were super tight. And I guess, you know, that's when he heard that I had broke away from the Hilltop. So Rob told him, Kwame was like, can you get him to come up here? So Rob didn't really drive like that. I had a car and they had this party up there. It was like a Salt-N-Pepa party, I believe, in the city. And he was wanting us to go. So I drove up, went to Kay's house. And that was how we had already been cool from Virginia. We got even, you know, cooler. Like me coming to the crib, he was seeing how I got down. He was just like, this dude is chill. I'm gonna ask him to be my DJ. That was kind of how I went. He peeped my vibe. That was that. Next thing you know, I'm getting a call like he got we went home or whatever after that night. And we hung out, party, had a good old time. We got all in the fanzine magazines, took pictures and all that kind of, because, you know, Going Steady was popping in and all the Right On magazines and the Word Ups and all that. And I believe it was me and EST we had a picture like on the back page of the magazine. I used to have it. I don't have it anymore, but that was dope. And people was just like, yo, that was fire, man. You was rhyming on. And they was giving, you know, the accolades, you know what I'm saying? Giving me my flowers. So I was like, it's like, yo, you should do an album and da-da-da-da. You know, all that talk came about. People kept asking it. I probably should have did one, but because it sparked a lot. You know, I was pulling up at lights and the girls were screaming. I was like, yo, this is how rappers get it done. This is what happens to them on the reg. You know, I'm screaming. I'm hearing chicks. I'm like, the freak. They screaming. I'm like, all right, it's like that. So that was how it went down. That's basically when he had a couple of track dates he wanted to do. Like, I know he was going to Texas and there was another date somewhere in the Midwest that he had to do. And he called Rob up and Rob hit me up and was like, yo, he wants you to do these dates. And I was just like, well, I ain't really DJing for nobody. That's not my twist. I'm producing now. So he convinced me. He was like, look, they free dates. They promote promo dates. So I'll pay you out my pocket. Da, 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 da. I was just like, oh, this dude is serious. I'm like, all right, I'll do the dates. Let's go. And that was it. Rest was history from there. We rocked out. We practiced together. Like that was when I was going to New York. I was staying there pretty much for the long haul because there was no drive an hour and 20 minutes just to get to NY. And you kind of have to be Johnny on the spot. So I was just always there. I come home every now and again.
Right. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I realize we've been talking longer than I thought. So you still got a few minutes, or you want to bounce?
I'm good. I'm good.
Okay. Well, I'll get a few more things before we wrap it. But now with getting with Kwame, being in New York, one of the other things that's always interesting to me, especially even in real time back then, was I understood that the Philly people never got respect in New York because they were from Philly. So for you experiencing that, but then actually being in New York and being with Kwame, who's from New York, did you see a difference? Did people treat you different all of a sudden? Like, oh, wow, he's here or he's in New York. Was it different or was it the same?
Yo, you are freaking clairvoyant or something. Your questions are right on point. That's how it happened. That's really how it happened. I guess, you're not around people. You don't grow up with people that's from Philly or Jersey or whatever. So, and in New Yorkers, it's more like, it's New York. It's New York. It's hip hop. It's the Mecca. Woo, woo, woo. So, I mean, Of course you're gonna get that. Yeah, I get that. I understand. If it's not coming from one of the 5 boroughs, I totally understand. I never took it disrespectfully at all. We were just looking more so to make our mark. It was like, all right, how can we make that mark so that you can't deny it? Like, oh, y'all was popping. Yo, this shit is popping. So in a nutshell, me being in Brooklyn, me being in the Bronx and, moving about all the time, they like, damn, you always up here. And then it became, they kind of adopted me. You know what I mean? It was like, all right, you're in New York all the time. Shit, you up here, you like one of us. So it became that kind of situation. You know what I mean? It was like, all right, yeah, he's from Philly, but this dude is cool as shit. That's all I really heard. And it never, the topic kind of stopped coming up, to be honest with you. And that really was the undertone of like somebody from a Philly area or Jersey, whatever, wouldn't really get the respect. It was almost like a unsaid rule or something. You know what I mean? That was kind of the vibe that we felt prior to me, joining up with Kwame. When it was me steady, we used to feel that like getting played, like what's really going on, like. But you're not being there, you don't know. So, like, for instance, Mr. Magic used to open up his show with rockin' music. When I heard that, I was blown out my head was blown out the frame, dude. I was like, what? What? Because his show was the shot. You know what I mean? You was on his show, you was it. He was Red Alert. And, he's like, wow. It's like Chuck Chill. I was like, wow. So for him to open the show with my rockin' music, I was like, I never really heard it, but people told me about it. So and years later, I would be in New York, Global Spin Awards, or like a function or something, and cats would be like, "Yo, man, I gotta give you props, man. This is New Yorkers now. I gotta give you props, man. Y'all Philly motherfuckers, y'all that shit, man. You always was the shit." And I was just looking like, is this a dream? Like, what the hell? Like, you bump your head. So again, back to that unwritten rule. Like, let's not give up no props. Let's not give it up. So but we felt it. You know what I mean? You in this game. We down with the craft as well. So we can understand what was going on. We peeped it. It's like, that's all right.
Okay.
Because I heard about Catch Rock. Juice Crew Diss. I heard about it.
Yeah. Well, also, the other thing that I always thought was interesting too is with the Day in the Life and then Nasty going from Atlantic and then the Incognito album, which I thought was actually really good, but was on rap. So did you, based in Atlanta, so did you move with Kwame down to Atlanta to do the album?
I sure did. Yeah, we was down there a month. Yeah.
And what was that for you, going from Jive Steady B to Kwame Atlantic, and then moving to Atlanta to do Incognito?
Well, I'll back it up a little bit. So, like, when I came in on his second album, Day in the Life of a Polkadelic Adventure, I thought it was a very creative record, and he was more musical. He played instruments and blah, blah, blah. So that was pretty intriguing to me to see and witness, because like being in the basement, we down there making music, and I'm just like, this dude is nasty with this keyboard, and he, play drums and all these different instruments. So I'm just like, live all together, he dressed different, he was like more dress up, rocking different shoes and just more stylish. So I was like, this adds a different dimension to it, opposed to just, you up there with some hip hop gear on, some jewels, and you rhyming. That was kind of like everybody's doing that. So he was a little different in that regard, but the album, that super, super creative dude, man. His creativity is off the meter. So it's just really unmatched and probably hasn't really been seen. I've seen heard so many different things. I'm like, oh, you should put that up. Oh my God, put that on a, oh my God, that's so fly. But, the behind the scenes stuff. But I thought it was dope. And I called it the Only You record. I was like, yo, this is your hit right here. This record right here. This is the one. This is the one. I called it right out the top. He was like, you sure? You think so? I was like, dude, this one right here. R&B and hip hop meshed together. This is it. One of the first times it had been done. And I wasn't wrong. That record was popping. So we had fun with that record. I was on there. I was on like 4 or 5 records on that album. I participated because he had already started the album and I came in, while it was already going on. And I had a chance to get involved with some of those songs. And that was pretty dope. Then the Nasty record came. He, trying something new, something different. Obviously, like I said, you evolve as an artist. So you want to, let's go somewhere else now. Let's move forward. And, with the females in mind, of course, do you want to get nasty? Okay. It was a tough time because like the whole AIDS awareness thing was going on too. So that was kind of like a clash in a sense. Timing was a little off, I would say. And, the records were getting harder at that time. So you had D.O.C Effects, you had Naughty by Nature, you had Black Sheep. So hip hop was that hard. Huh, come on. Huh. It was coming back to that, you know what I mean? So that was the time that, it was flipping because every so many years, the music will flip. It might go to like a poppy sound at that time. And then all of a sudden, right back to traditional hip hop. And that was the time when it flipped. So there you have it. So that album was like, okay, we'll drop this record with little to no fanfare. And he asked for the out because he was kind of like, he just kind of felt disrespected. So he was like, damn, he didn't promote my record. You just dropped it without even saying, it's coming out on October 19th. It was just out. I went to the store one day and was like, hold on, let me get the phone. Yo, you said the album's coming out when? Yo, this shit is out. He was like, fuck out of here. I was like, dude, this shit is out now. It's out. I'm looking at it. He's like, well, all right, well, tell me what I got on because you didn't see the final album cover art. He's like, well, tell me this. I said, you got on a hat with glasses and some boots and some boxers and I named everything. He was like, I gotta call you back. Bam! He slammed the phone down. He called Atlantic. Shit was out, man. That was crazy. So then it was like he wanted out of the contract, and it was like, all right, fine, we let you out. So he went to Rat Records, Ichiban. Oh yeah.
Well, I really thought that was
their philosophy.
I really thought that was a good album, even though it didn't get a lot of acclaim. But I liked it.
Thank you. So I gotta find the original album. I have it somewhere around here, but it was a lot of samples. We went back to the traditional, doing our thing with the samples and whatnot. But that particular record company was not savvy with samples, and they was like, "We're not doing anything with samples." We were like, "What? What kind of? This is hip hop." He was like, "Well, replay it. Can't you replay it?" We were like, okay. So replay everything on the album. Take this out. Take that out. Whoop, 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 whoop. And the original samples, that album was banging. It was banging. Replayed mostly all of it. 98% of it probably. And it was a little different. Sounded a little different. Felt a little different. But the album was good, but they didn't push it at all. Typical, throw it up against the wall, see what hits. If it doesn't, and What's It Like was the big catch. A lot of people liked it. It was like a dark video and little to no push. It's like driving a car with no handlebars, or no steering wheel. That's what it was like. It's like, all right, get in the car. There's no steering wheel. Where's it going?
Wow.
That's what it was like. It's going off road. It's not even on the charts, literally.
Well, I know after that you did a lot of stuff, and in the mixtape series, and then you got doing stuff with Alumni as well now. So, as Dane likes to say, the full circle moment, to be able to do Alumni for the last couple of years, what has that been? What has that meant to you? You know, as you look at your career, to be able to be in the Alumni.
So first of all, it's an honor. That's number one. You know what I mean? That they would have me on was like, yo, that's I feel good about that. That's dope. That's number one. Because for one, I was working at the record store when Dana's record came out, This Be the Death Beat. That was one of my favorite cuts. I'm just like, I can see the album now, breaking open the boxes and the white album, and you know what I mean? It was just a dope ass time. He had the video for it. I love that Enjoy Yourself record. That sample was all that. So I was just like, man, this is so dope. And Dana was on fire. So to have me on, honor, man. I'm honored. You know what I'm saying? And to be with artists that I respected and love their music. You know what I mean? How many times have I cut up just the two of us? I got a bunch of mixtapes with just a bang. How many times have I cut that record and I hadn't even met Chubb at that time? It took a long time for us to meet. And he was in Philly the first time I met him, actually. That was like in the 90s, mid 90s or so. That was the first time. So, but when you meet as a DJ, you dropping records in a party, it's still a cool vibe. But here we dropping the artist record. They're right there. I'm dropping it. And he's coming on the stage, first is Dana, boom. And then it's Kwame, then it's Special Ed, you know what I mean? Or other way around. Special Ed comes out second, but it's a dope situation because it's like a mixtape. So, and I'm dropping Special Ed records, and I used to watch his videos on TV. Act Love is my dude. Action Love is my guy. DJing for different groups or different artists. That's super dope, man. Super, super dope. Different aspect of the game at this point, I mean, I've spun for quite a few different people. Big Daddy Kane and Rakim, so it's dope. I think it's dope. I mean, whereas you would normally see an Eric B DJing for Rakim, I've been on many shows with them, but I'm doing it. I'm spinning for them. I spun for him a few times, and that's dope. And he's just like, yo, Tat, yo, hit that, and just like, this is crazy. Spinning these records all these years, and now you're spinning for them. Dope as hell, man. Alumni is all that. I'm a fan of all their music, so it's an honor, man. Dope experience.
All right, well, there it is. Well, Tab Money, thanks so much for coming through the Unique Access, man. We really appreciate your time, and everybody needs to check y'all out for the Alumni.
No question. Yeah, check me out on Instagram, DJ Tap Money. At DJ Tap Money.
In the beginning, hip-hop was ruled by the East Coast. Then the West Coast rose to prominence, thanks to gangster rap. Straight out of Compton, crazy motherfucker named Ice Cube. Hip-hop changed the world. Gangster rap changed the narrative.
I'm representing for the gangsters all across the world.
And then changed the world again.
Cause I'll come and take your life away.
The history of gangster rap features unheard stories, unseen photos and documents, all with exclusive interviews from the founders and players who shaped gangster rap.
I think a real gangster rapper has to scare you a little bit.
The history of gangster rap written by veteran rap journalist Soren Baker. In stores now.
Yo, what up? This is DJ Quick. Be sure to pick up my homeboy Soren Baker's book, The History of Gangster Rap, if you really want to know what we do.